Good evening, fantasy football fanatics. Welcome to the 208 Fantasy Football Show. We've got a lot to talk about. File on in. Check it out. We're talking quarterback contracts. We're talking some smoke season. We're breaking down the NFC West. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's roll and get this thing going right now. Justin, how are we doing this evening on this beautiful evening?
It's been good. I'm pretty exhausted after 2 days. We moved across the state, but I knew I had to get my podcast set up within like the first 4 hours of getting to the house. So my wife's like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I gotta set up, make sure I'm ready to go for that tomorrow." So I'm glad my stuff is set up and glad we're all settled and moved. So
it's like we got priorities. We got to get them right, you know.
We do. Yes,
It's been nuts. I mentioned smoke season. It's so smoky here. We had a youth football camp today. A lot of fun. Had some of the Boise State players out for the young guys, so it was really, really cool. That you point to the Boise State shirt. Thank you to those guys for sure. A lot of fun. Kids had a lot of fun. A lot of coaching going on over the last couple of days. But well, shoot, man. Let's jump right into it. Let's get a little NFL news.
What's going on?
What do you got for us, Justin?
So I just want to touch on a few things. The biggest two things I think we all agree is Tua and Love both get money. So Tua got 212 over 4 years, so I believe he's the third or fourth highest paid now. And then Jordan Love getting 220 over 4 years, being the highest paid, with Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence at 55, I believe. Which it's just a crazy number how much the salary cap has gone up. And I get it, you got to pay your guys. So I don't think it's too much of a fuss. Love was really good last year. Tua was really good last year. You got to pay your guys. Amari Cooper got a $5 million raise at camp, which is awesome because he's been so consistent. Glad he got his money. Two running backs that I feel like have been wishy-washy. We don't know what they're going to be. Chase Brown and Javonte Williams both getting all the first-team reps with the Bengals and Broncos respectively. So
yeah, certainly, which is great. So you bring up a couple of points. Those quarterbacks getting paid so much right now, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Dak, right? Like what's going on there. Lots of money going around. That's why I got the shades on this evening. A lot of bling happening. In addition to our smokiness here in the area, just because of all the fires going on, we always talk about smoke season in the off season with the trades and whatnot. To me, this is the smoke season, only because coaches are always hyping up their guys. Yeah, this guy, that guy, and you just alluded to it. It's like you got to really pay attention to what the players are doing and what the coaches are doing with them. You know, are they running with the ones? Are they getting runs with the twos? What's going on? So just be careful. Don't get overhyped with your players just because a coach talks high on them. See what they're doing first.
Yeah, you get those sleeper notifications, and man, you just get the itch. Like, do I need to trade for this guy? Do I need to get rid of this guy? And a lot of these teams are still in. It's like the underwear Olympics, like with the combine. There's not a lot of full pads. There's not a lot of full contact. Just relax. I get really trade happy and want to trade stuff, and I have to chill out, let it go, be smart in your decisions.
Yeah, I did hear some other news. Caleb Williams broke up a fight today. JD5, trying to show leadership there. JD5's been balling out. And then I even heard some news around Harbaugh talking up Quentin Johnson, how he has issues. They're going to do all this stuff. So I'm just hold your horses. You're so correct on, I need to trade for these guys yesterday. So, but yeah, understood.
Yes, sir.
That's our news for today. Lots going on, and it's going to really, really ramp up. There's just going to be news everywhere. It's essentially the 1st of August, so things going to get crazy real fast. So stay tuned. Get plugged in with all that we got going on and what's out there for your NFL teams. Let's kick off our next segment, which is kind of, again, the meat and potatoes of what we're doing today. A little NFC West breakdown.
Our last one.
Yes, this is the last division before we start getting into our rankings of what we like. The NFC West. This this division is a fun division to me because I think there's teams that have been doing really well, some sneaky teams, and some up and coming teams that I think we both like a bunch of players. There's a lot of players in here to dabble with, but let's get right into it. And Justin, we're going to start with the 49ers. Tell us what you know.
All right, start with the best team. So the 49ers, man, there's not too much to this offense. We all know Kyle Shanahan. So they were second in total offense, fourth in passing, third in rushing, and third in scoring. So as you can see, very potent offense in both the rushing game, passing game, scoring. They have dudes all over the field. Shanahan, I think, is the best play caller with Andy Reid, probably in the league. I love Shanahan. I have since he was with the Falcons and we lost that Super Bowl. But they have Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Pearsall, CMC. O-line is in a tough spot besides Trent Williams, who I think is the best football player in the NFL. They're struggling a little bit. They're ranked 24th in the league with O-line, so not what you usually expect with the 49ers O-line. They expect Kyle Shanahan to coach them up with the run scheme that CMC will still be very, very good. They did take a tackle out of Kansas who may start the interior right tackle, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. You know, this window is closing on these 49ers to win a Super Bowl. They've had a couple of cracks at it. In my mind, this is probably the last go around for them, but we'll see. But let's get right into who we like, who we don't like it on this team. So Purdy is their quarterback. He's ranked number 11, 94 ADP, 8th overall. Justin, are you interested in Purdy this season?
He's definitely. I haven't drafted him a lot. I don't have a lot of shares of him. Again, he does remind me a little bit of the Tua, where Tua led the league in. He led the league in passing and still finished as like a barely top 10 quarterback. Purdy's in that same situation. Doesn't run the ball, ran for 144 yards, but man, he throws a lot of touchdowns. So if you're in like a passing touchdown premium where there's 6 instead of 4, I get it there because he threw for 30. His touchdown to interception ratio was 31-11. I don't like it that much, especially he's at the 11th quarterback right now. There's some guys that I like a lot around that range. So.
No, I agree. I won't talk much about him. I don't have very many shares of him. He's probably going to get paid to the roof next year. But I just, with Purdy there, I think I'd rather have Dak, Jordan Love, and Kyler Murray, and honestly, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff over him. Heck of a player, system player. He's just, I mean, gosh, man, it's hard to root against the guy, but for fantasy purposes, I'm probably staying clear of him.
Correct.
Moving to the running back position, I mean, everybody knows CMC, and I put Garendo on here, the rookie out there, and we'll talk about another player here in just a second. But CMC is ranked number 1. His ADP is number 1. He's going to end up number 1 in a lot of leagues, different level stuff. A lot of people will take him number 1 overall. Garendo is the rank 75, 212, and you can pick him up late in the 18th round. So, Justin, just picking your brain a little bit here. You have the number 1 pick. Do you want McCaffrey in every league that you have the number 1 pick? Right? Is that a thing?
It's just so tough. Like the first round pick, pick is like so hard to get. Like I feel like you have to. Like it's like he catches the ball too much. He ran for 1,500 yards last year, 14 touchdowns. Like. He is the number 1 player in fantasy football. He is getting up there. He's 28, but man, like he takes care of his body. Like all his Twitter stuff, he's been raised since he was a 2-year-old to be a professional football player. He is so good. He got 80 targets last year with 67 catches. So he scored a total of 21 touchdowns. Like that's just hard to replicate. Again, I think the only 2 running backs that can replicate that, and that's a very extreme case, like that is the very upper tier, is Brees and Bijan. But man, if you get a chance to draft him, he's on the board. I think you draft him. I'm not a big drafter of Garendo or Elijah Mitchell. I like Elijah Mitchell at the very end of your drafts, just for insurance. He is a must draft handcuff if you do get Pierce McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's a no-brainer. If you wanted to go Brees or Hall in a couple of drafts to mix it up, that's fine, but I think he's number one overall. Everyone's always trying to pick or guess, right? I'm going to say guess when the drop off's going to happen. Because all the players drop off. It's like, is this it? Is this the year? Is this the year? It's year 28. I mean, he just turned 28 in June. But yeah, number one consensus. Roll with it.
He's a different cat. There's a couple of those guys that like Tyreek Hill's different. Like I don't know if he'll ever lose that speed. I remember Matt probably knows since Matt's a little bit older. Like Darrell Green with the Redskins or the Commanders. Like he just never lost it. Like he was fast till he was 42. I think Tyreek Hill's going to be that way. I think Christian McCaffrey's going to play as long as he wants to play. Yeah. I don't know if he's ever going to drop off. And having a good play caller like Kyle Shanahan, man, it's tough to bet against it.
Yep, agreed. If for some reason McCaffrey gets hurt, and then I don't want to put the radio jinx on him or anything like that, but Elijah Mitchell. You mentioned Elijah Mitchell. I like Garendo. He's got a little bit of a hamstring issue right now, but I'm late. Either one's fine as an insurance policy that they're going to run the ball. That's just how the 49ers are. So it's up to you who you want out of that. I'm steering clear of Jordan Mason, yeah, but Garendo or Mitchell, either one. So.
Yes.
Moving to the wide receiver group. Now, there's been some drama around this.
Oh yeah,
wide receiver group. So we're going to talk about it. But as of right now, Deebo Samuel's ranked 15th. He's 30th in the ADP. Put him in the third. Ayuk is 17th with 29 ADP in the third. Then Parasol, who has been a little injured here, but he should be good to go with the hamstring issue. 72, 165. You can pick him up in the fourth round. With Ayuk wanting to, really he's been trying to hold in. Well, we've talked plenty about it. Justin, how are you navigating this wide receiver group with I don't want to say uncertainty, but there is a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of best ball mock drafts, all that stuff. And I think even in redraft and whatever, I have loved getting Deebo in the third. I think this is his year to replicate 2 years ago where he had those 8 rushing touchdowns. Like Brandon Ayuk holding out, and like you said, Ricky having those injuries, it feels like the 49ers are put in a place like, hey, Deebo is going to have to be the focal because he's here. And man, he really came on last year. He had a good year, and I love getting him in the third. I think it's a steal if you go wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, or running back, wide receiver, and he's your one. I love his value right now. I haven't got much of Ayuk or Pearsall a lot, but I love Deebo Samuel right now.
I agree with you. I think Deebo is a clear number one. I would be much higher on Ayuk if he was really invested into Seattle, and for the 49ers. But it seems like this odd thing, and we've seen players hold out before, and it's hurt them in their fantasy value. They're slow to start. Yes. Maybe Parasol, it can be ADP. Maybe beat ADP here. I probably can, but I just don't know. And it's such a late 14th round. You can get him if you don't like the players around him. But Deebo to me is a guy that's probably the one that you want out of this group too. I agree.
100%. The thing about Kyle Shanahan, he can replace you. He can replace our the production. You saw Jawan Jennings last year. Have a good year when he got put in. He did get paid. So I think they're fine either way. I think Ayuk's going to come back, but like Matt said, those guys that do start late, it feels like they start their season late, or they get injured, or they have some type of soft tissue injury because they didn't do anything.
And as a little nugget, if you've been playing fantasy football long enough, we know Shanahan will put players in the doghouse, and Ayuk has been there before, and it makes me a little nervous with him going, I'm just holding in. You got to pay me. What's that and the other? And don't want to show up. That he'll be in the doghouse again. So I don't know. But
absolutely.
Moving on to Kittle. Kittle, a little bit older this year. You like Kittle in his ADP with 6th overall in these ADP 60, and you get him in the 5th round. You like him?
Oh man, this grouping of tight end is it's always at the 4th, the 5th round, that turn. Kincaid, Pitts, George Kittle, Mark Andrews. I love that foursome right there. They are I'd be ecstatic taking any of them. Everybody forgets George Kittle did have a good year last year. He again with Ayuk holding out, George Kittle never comes off the field because he's so great at blocking. He's a dog. I think he's got a few more years. He's 30. He'll turn 31 during the season. He had 1,000 yards, which is what you want, 6 touchdowns. I know he had a couple blowout games. I think he had a game where he had 3 touchdowns. So hopefully his touchdowns come up a little bit. But he's good, man. I'll take him like that. Like I said, that foursome, like I'll take any of those guys.
So we were a little bit spoiled. So back in 2022, he had 11 touchdowns, but 700 and change, 60 some yards. The next year, which was last year, he has over 1,000 yards, but only 6 touchdowns. We're waiting that one time. Can he get over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns? You know, we kind of that would be nasty. That's tight end 1-2 easy. So I don't know if he can get there, being 20, 30. But maybe he's just a really good tight end, really, really good player, and they absolutely need him.
I think that tight end sweet spot between Mark Andrews, Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, even Evan Ingram and Jake Ferguson, like that little grouping is the sweet spot for tight end. Like I think those are the guys that you pick. Like Trey McBride is rich, Sam Laporta is super rich, Travis Kelce is rich. But like I love those tight ends right there, and I feel like it drops off pretty bad after that. So.
Yeah, from Kincaid down to Ingram, I like that too. So, all right, that is our 49ers. Let's jump into the Los Angeles Rams. What do you got for us, Justin, on the Rams?
All right, the LA Rams, probably one of my favorite offseasons. So 7th in total offense, 10th in passing, 11th in rushing, 8th in scoring. Offense has been great ever since McVay took it over, kind of the same sense as Shanahan, one of the better play callers in the league. Both run game and pass game are always great, whether you had Todd Gurley or Kyron Williams this year, or we have Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and now Puka. He just seems to always have some studs back there. Their draft was 90% defensive guys, and it felt like they did offensive line and free agency, so they went and spent a ton of money in the interior at guard with Dotson and I can't remember, Avila, I think, were the 2 guys that they got. And they spent a lot of money on them, which makes me super excited for their run game. Their O-line is ranked 16th by PFF, so it'll be interesting to see how much Sean McVay puts into the power run game with Kyron, because Kyron had such a good year. So
yeah, should be interesting. We're gonna jump right into Stafford, Matt's been doing it a while. We know that. He is currently ranked 20th. His ADP is 128. You get him in the 11th round. Justin, do you want a piece of Mr. Matthew Stafford this year?
Again, doesn't have a ton of running upside. Again, he's up there again. It seems like he'll always miss a few games. He's a stud. He's just like a horse. Like he's just such a great player, but like in the sense like he's a great football player. I don't really want him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, 36-year-old still has a cannon for an arm, and I'm trying to look up because I don't recall. Let me look because I want to look at the Rams defense. They're middle of the pack in defense, so it's possible they're going to be in some shootouts, right? And in order for them to win games, I don't care what it's still on Stafford to do so. Kyron Williams is still going to be a baller, but in Corum, which we'll talk about in a second, but. Ranked 20th ADP of 128 in Superflex, I do not mind having him there. As far as just a regular redraft, single quarterback, right? I'm probably not getting shares of him. Maybe you have him as your backup, but I think you can get a better backup with rushing upside. In my opinion, still a great player. He is the engine that makes that offense go. But I worry a little bit. At the same time, I guess, if you believe that Puka and Kupp are going to have really good years, then you're kind of default that you have to – Stafford's the one throwing it, right? So I guess we'll see. What I'm at the end of the day I'm saying is if you want him, get him, but I understand if you don't want him, right? He's kind of that weird gray area for me. Moving on to running back. Kyron Williams, the newly acquired Corum out of the University of Michigan. Kyron is ranked the 7th, 18th ADP. You got to get him in the 2nd round. Sometimes he goes to the end of the 1st round, I've seen, as high as that. And then Corum, 38, ADP 114, and you get him in the 10th round. Thoughts on this running back duo, Justin?
So I like Kyron a lot this year. In Dynasty, he scares me a little bit because I feel like they're going to replace him since he has pretty low draft capital. But this year, I do like him. The injury concern is a little scary. He only played 12 games, but man, in those games that he played, he averaged 23 touches a game. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's so many opportunities. He catches the ball well. Blake Corum does make me a little hesitant. If Kyron's my RB2, I think I'm fine with that. If somehow I get like a Saquon and a Kyron, or a Jonathan Taylor and a Kyron, I'm pretty excited about that. The thing that reassures me the most about Kyron and me being feel a little bit froggy about taking him is the investment in the interior line. Like, they went out and they got 2 big guards. It seems like they want to run the ball, save Stafford's arm for the playoffs, keep Cooper healthy. Like, I like Kyron. I'll spend the 2nd round pick on him for sure. I like him a lot. He's a good running back, catches the ball really well.
So here's my take with this running back group. There's a handful of starting and cuff running backs in the league that I want. This is one of them. If I'm taking Kyron, I'm going to get Corum, right? In redraft format, right? In best ball, it's a little different. I don't like to. I just, best player available in those setups, and typically I get really in any draft. But this is one of those ones where I'll make an exception. If I'm getting Kyron, I'm looking to get Corum too, because then I've got it. It's solidified for me. Could they do a 60-40 split or a 70-30 split? Maybe. My mind right now, it's Williams' show. It will be. They got Corum in my mind so that they had somebody they can lean on if he got hurt.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, we're okay. It's like, we're good. So, because he's a good running back, but they'll get him touches too. But this is Kyron's running back room right now, and I am okay with taking him late first, early second. Right? If you're kind of that 1-2 turn, I would do that in a heartbeat, and then turn around and get Corum later in the 10th is very, very reasonable. I like that setup. Moving on to wide receiver, and reliable Cooper Kupp. He's getting older. His position rank is 21, ADP 37. You can get him in the 4th round. Puka Nacua, who had just had a phenomenal rookie record-breaking year, is 7th in position. ADP 10, and you got to get him in the 1st. I added Tutu Atwell here, which he's not ranked as ADP, because there's really not a 3rd wide receiver that I wanted to put on here. I did that for a reason, because there's just 2 guys that you're really focusing on, which is Kupp and Nacua. Now, Justin, give me your thoughts on these 2, right? We talked about Stafford a little bit and what's going on. Do you like their ADP? Is it a little bit high for you? You're okay doing it? Run with this and let me know what you're thinking.
So the Puka thing is so tough because he's a BYU guy, and I remember they played Boise State on the blue, and I was like, this receiver is nasty. Like, I didn't know who he was, but he was so good in college, and I don't know how he got drafted that late. Okay, here's my thing. Puka's a great receiver. No hate. He's one of my favorite guys. There's no way I'm taking Puka above AJ and Garrett Wilson, maybe even Devontae, Marvin Harrison. All those guys are going after him, and then Amon-Ra is going just before him, and Jamar Chase. I just don't think he's that level of dude. Like, I think last year was so crazy. He got peppered with targets. Cooper was out the first 4 games. You know how close Cooper and Matthew Stafford are. They'll probably rekindle that relationship. I just don't think you're going to get the return on value with Puka. Cooper does intrigue me a little bit. With him going in the 4th round, man, if I can get him in the 5th, I like that a lot, just because you know he's probably going to get anywhere from 6 to 12 targets a game. Some of them might be 8 yards, but man, he's good in the red zone. They play him as a big slot. They let him go all around, and man, I like Cooper's value. Puka, I probably won't have any shares of.
Yeah, I don't know how to really add on that, but Cooper is the best value here, just because I can get him in the 4th with some players that I want. Puka, I really, really want. I just can't pay that price. It's just too high. And the kid can flat out play. Just if you haven't watched film, go watch film. Stafford did a good job of incorporating him in the offense and really targeting him. And his yak yards were pretty good afterwards. I think he's coming in a little bit lighter this season, trying to get better in route running. I don't know if that'll hurt him or not, but I do not see him repeating that high again. I don't. And I will be the first one to tell you I took an L on him. When he broke out, I'm like, nah, that was just fluky, right? I'm like, it's a fluke. Yeah. He'll be waiver wire by week 5 or 6. Nope, he proved me wrong. And man, I'd high five him. I want Puka. I just wish he would fall. I think people are a little bit too high on him with other players that are around him. So, moving on to tight end, I don't really want either one of these tight ends, Higbee and Parkinson. Higbee's out with an ACL. Parkinson, they did sign for a couple years, or like a 2-year contract for a few million. Higbee's at 58 in the position ranking, 370, which is outside the 20th round, and Parkinson's 36, 274. The tight end room is so deep. You don't need either one of these players. I'm steering clear. Justin, you agree?
Yeah, totally agree. Matt hit it all. I don't want any of these guys.
Perfect. Moving on to our next team, the Seattle Seahawks. Here we go. This is going to be good. Justin, what do you got?
So I feel like this podcast has been like so hyped for this offense that like I just did like just a little bit of research on them just to kind of go into it. So they were 21st in total offense, 14th in passing, 28th in rushing, and 17th in scoring offense. So I think that should scare Matt a little bit, if anything, because their OC just went over to the Bears. Okay,
yes,
so let's talk about Ryan Grubbs. Okay, so Ryan Grubbs has been with Kalen DeBoer for 12 out of the last 17 years. Ryan Grubbs is known as the explosive OC from Washington that orchestrated that offense, that made that offense into just fireworks. Like, it was crazy to watch that offense. And that's why they played for a national championship. Really awesome to see. Okay, so I don't know how much of that offense he was responsible for. So with Ryan Grubbs, he has a background with the O-line and having a very strong run game. Washington had a decent run game, nothing crazy. I don't know if it's going to look like UW. First of all, college football is so much different than the NFL. The hashes are narrower, so it leaves more field, a lot more openings. Players aren't as good. I don't know if it's going to be the 3 wide sets that we're used to seeing. He's got two dogs in the backfield. What's he going to do with them? I think that's a big question. McDonald's coming over from the Ravens. Does he take that hardball approach where it's play good defense, run the ball? Is Geno Smith good enough to run this offense the way that it was run in college? I don't know. He looked really bad. Dave Canales did a great job with Geno Smith. That's why I'm super excited to see what Bryce Young does. Seahawks, I just feel like they're going to take such a huge step back. They have such a bad O-line, 31st in the league. Again, Washington, I think, had 2 or 3 offensive linemen drafted in the NFL. So one of the better O-lines in college football to allow them to push the ball downfield. Seattle is probably the polar opposite of that. Again, it scares the crap out of me. They're relying on 2 young tackles. They drafted a guard. I don't think he'll play. I don't think he'll be a starter. Again, I feel like I've been so high on the Seahawks all summer, and then I did a little bit more research, and it felt like it came back down to earth. Where how are these running backs going to be used? Man, I've been so high on. I feel like Chance and Matt have been so high on DK. I still think DK is the one in this offense, but man, I don't know what it's going to be, so I'm a little scared.
Yeah, so we will definitely see. Let's start rolling through our players here. Let's talk about Geno and Howell. Geno's coming in position 25, 164. You can get him in the 14th round, and Howell's not even ranked in ADP or any round or anything like that. So, with what you just said, right? Are you having any shares of Geno Smith in any of your teams?
No, there is a quarterback bunch, and like little hint to next week's show is like I have my quarterback rankings, and hopefully Matt took a little sneak peek, but there's a quarterback that I really like that's ranked way too low, and he's been one of my favorite quarterbacks since he came in the league, and I just don't think Geno Smith is worth drafting, especially in one quarterback leagues, super flex maybe, but he had a really bad year last year. And like again, O line has been my sticking point. This O line's not good.
As far as Geno Smith, I actually like Sam Howell a little better than Geno with the offense that they want to do because Sam Howell's more of a gunslinger.
For sure.
I think he's going to be the backup here. Geno will probably beat his ADP, but I'm probably steering clear. Maybe there's other super flex quarterbacks I like better, so it's definitely staying clear of Geno, which breaks my heart a little bit. But we'll talk about the receivers in a minute. But running backs, you have Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Walker's position 17, ADP 55. You can get him in the 5th round. Charbonnet's 42 at 126, and you get him in the 11th round. Based on what you talked about that O-line, and I'm well aware of that O-line because I did some research on, and I'll talk more about it. Do you like either one of these guys with their ADPs?
I just don't know if either of them are good. Like Ken Walker had such a good rookie year. I was like, oh man, this guy, like, I was like, this guy's gonna be a dude. Like he's gonna be a stud. Like he's gonna be like a Joe Mixon type, where it's like set it, forget it. He's always gonna be consistent, and then had a real poop year. Like that's how I can describe it. I don't want to start that every week. What is Grubb's preferred guy? Because Charbonnet coming out was great pass catching, great running ability, can pass block, can do everything to be a 3-down back. Ken Walker, an explosive out of Michigan State. Feels like you're trying to hit a home run ball every time. I don't know what's gonna be his style, so I probably wouldn't draft either of these guys, especially at either round. That's just me. I don't want to do a 50-50 split. Give me Zamir White in the 10th or whatever where Charbonnet is. I'll take that any day of the week because I know he's gonna get carries.
So let me be clear on this. This is Ken Walker's backfield. He's the much better running back. He's much more explosive. I remember when they drafted Charbonnet, and I really thought the Bears were going to take Charbonnet, but Seattle had the pick right before them, and they stunned everybody by taking Charbonnet. And I think they just wanted some backup help because they kind of were rolling through some running backs because Walker was getting a little banged up. So
for sure.
Again, I'm like, they're both good, but this is Walker's backfield. I do think they'll be able to run the ball better this year with this, just the way the offense set up and maybe some hype around a change, right? I think it'll be better. You know, we're looking off last year's stats. Last year's stats don't always predict this year, but this is Ken Walker's backfield. Now, does he beat ADP? I'm going to say it's probably appropriate right now. I tend to agree with you, Justin. I'll probably pick somebody else, but if other people aren't there, he's not somebody I'm going to shy away from. I still think he can be a baller. There's opportunity in Seattle for sure. They got to get the running game going. You're 100% right. Grubb talked about that. You have to get that O-line right before other things happen. But I think they'll figure it out.
Can I give you some names and you tell me who you want out of Ken Walker and these guys?
Okay.
Alvin Kamara.
I want Walker.
Wow. Joe Mixon.
Probably a better team at this point, but maybe Mix. I don't even like Mixon anymore. But I'm gonna go Walker. Let's go Walker.
Ramondre.
I gotta go Ramondre. I think
Ramondre,
he's gonna get everything.
Ramondre is going 13 spots after.
Yeah, Ramondre is gonna be the workhorse in that offense.
And then James Cooks is going 6 spots above it.
Yeah, I don't want Cooks.
That's crazy. I like Alvin this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a holdout thing with him, so who knows? We'll see how it goes. But I'd rather have Walker. Moving on to wide receiver, this is where I wanted to talk a little bit about just to kind of help with. So DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN. If you have not watched it, I did 3 players that need a little more respect, as Rodney Dangerfield would say. I can't get no respect. Go watch that film. I talk about DK Metcalf and why things the way they are. But DK is position ranked is 20th, 36th overall. You got to get him in the 3rd. Tyler Lockett 51, 113 to get him in the 10th. JSN is 43, position ranked 94, and you get him in the 8th. These guys are all in the round, and really they're in the top 10 rounds, right? So somebody's really liking that Seattle offense out there. A lot of people are liking it. Maybe get thrown around, temper your expectations a little. I think they can get there. Justin, what do you do with these 3 as far as drafting them?
Okay, so Matt's going to hate my answer because I don't want to draft Jason. Scares the crap out of me in the 8th. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. He should work in this offense if it's the same Washington offense, but I don't know if they're just gonna use 2 wide receiver sets and just let Lockett and DK eat. Tyler Lockett is always a value every single year. In the 10th round, in the 11th round, in the 12th round, just draft him. He's great. He's a good spot start. He's one of the most consistent wide receivers, like Amari Cooper a little bit. I mean, not as great, but like very consistent. DK, again, I am super comfortable with him being my wide receiver 1 in the 3rd round. Matt, you could tell us how you feel.
Yeah, I want as much shares of DK I can get. I just think they're going to feed him the ball. They're going to have to throw. It's going to be one of those things. I think they'll be in some shootouts and whatnot. So yep. I do think this is the year JSN overtakes Lockett, but it's hard to bet against Lockett. He's 31 years old. He will turn 32 in September. So he's a little bit older, but good Lord, he's been Mr. Consistent forever. But I think I want a little bit more youth. Give me JSN out of this offense. DK 1, JSN 2, Lockett 3. For me, just basically how we got it here. Kind of we see the polls going as far as the draft rounds. But I want that. Here's the thing: I'm not going to force it though. If they fall to me, I'll take them. But I'm pretty high on this offense. DK is going to lead the way. I do think DK could be a top 5 guy. I really do. If he gets even remotely close. So we'll see what happens. Tight end Noah Fant. Noah Fant is ranked 22. You can get his ADP. His ADP is 196. You can get in the 17th round. On a super late flyer, maybe they didn't use the tight end a lot, but he's talented enough. But I'm probably steering clear. Justin?
I thought he was going to be so much better. Like, him and Hawk came out at the same college, same time, and I was like, Noah Fant's going to be that dude. Hawkinson's not going to be that cute. It's going to be Noah Fant. And I was wrong. He just hasn't been anything, which sucks because coming out of Iowa, height, weight, speed guy, like fast as crap, it just didn't work out. I don't want any shares of him.
Yep, fair enough. I think that's pretty consensus. Let's get to our very final team of the evening. Okay, we're talking Arizona Cardinals. Now this team is intriguing. They seemed like they were missing a couple of pieces. They got one last year. They picked up a couple big ones this year. Justin, what do you know about them? What do we got?
So keep in mind, Kyler was out for half the season with these rankings. So they were 19th in total offense, 26th in passing. And Matt, you tell me a number you think they were in rushing.
A ranking?
Yeah.
Like 18?
They were 4th in rushing.
Oh, wow. So they ran the ball without Kyler.
Yeah, 17th in scoring offense. So Cardinals were pretty low seed. I had no idea they were that good at rushing the ball, which, I mean, having Kyler out half the season, I know he had some rushing value, but they run the ball pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with James Conner as he's getting older, but, man, he's consistent, and Trey Benson coming in. Marvin Harrison coming in, probably one of the most anticipated rookie receivers since Jamar Chase. Their O-line is ranked pretty low, but I'm pretty high on Paris Johnson last year. So he played right tackle last year. He's out of Ohio State. Very good prospect, like freak athlete. Got some Trent Williams type stuff. And then they signed Jonah Williams, who, as you remember, got drafted by the Bengals, play a little bit of left tackle, but he'll be playing right tackle. Their interior, that's probably where they're lacking a lot, but I think this team has improved quite a bit.
Yeah, this team's certainly loaded, and we're going to go through this roster right now, but we just talked about him, Kyler Murray, position ranked is 10. You get him at his ADP is 73. You can get him in the 7th round. Justin, if he's available, you want him? Is that a good spot for him?
Oh, yeah. I love his ADP right now. Like, I think everybody just forgets, like, Kyler Murray gets his shtick for being a video game, not committed to the team, this and that. But, man, he is a very good fantasy football player. Like, he came in the league, and I felt like he was good right away. He automatically adds rushing value. I think you'll see what it is this year a little bit more than it was the past couple of years. But, I mean, 500 yards, 800 yards, 400 yards, 400 yards. That has been his rushing totals. I mean, his second year, he gave you 11 touchdowns on the Rams, and I think he's going to keep evolving as a passer. I really like Kyler this year, especially adding something I think he hasn't had since DeAndre Hopkins, and that was a little bit at the first of the year. I think this offense is going to be super fun to watch.
Yep, Kyler Murray smashed his ADP. I don't think he's a top 5, but he's definitely a 5 to 10 quarterback in my mind. This is the most weapons he's ever had at that level with McBride and the bringing on Marvin Harrison Jr. Wilson's still good. You have Connor, the veteran, back there. Now they bring in Benson. So I'm pretty hyped about this team. I'm really looking forward to they can see what they can do with Murray's rushing upside and be able to find targets. He's going to beat this ADP. If I wait on a QB, he might be the one I wait on for sure. So I like it. Moving on, running back, you have James Conner and Trey Benson, the rookie Trey Benson. They just picked him up this year. Connor's ranked position 21, ADP of 70, get him in the 6th round. And not far behind him, which is intriguing, Trey Benson's 37, ADP 111, you get him into 10th round. So you want any shares of this, Justin?
James Conner has always been a very good player for me. He's super consistent, especially the round he's going around. You have Zach Moss, who we talked about a little bit at the beginning of the news, Amir White, James Conner, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren. Those are kind of your guys around there. Like, he's very consistent. I think it's pretty easy for him to finish as an RB2 and maybe an upper RB2, maybe the RB15, something like that. I really like him. I think Trey Benson is about a year away. I think in Dynasty, if you can get him, go get him, because I think he'll be really good next year. I don't think he'll have too much of a role in this offense.
Yeah, it's tricky. So we just talked about the Rams and with Williams and Corum. This is one of those other teams that I want to stack this running back because Connor sometimes get banged up and Benson's going to slide right in. Interestingly enough, Benson and Corum are both going in the 10th round. The difference between Connor and Williams is Williams is going in the 2nd round, Connor's going in the 6th. So I'm okay if for some reason I'm like, I'm going to take Connor with the intentions of getting Benson, then I'm covered in this high-powered offense. So it's okay to me. Both of these are okay picks. I don't know that I'll take Connor in the 6th round. It seems like I'm just not sure, but you're right. He's been consistent. But if you're doing that, I would encourage you to grab them both. This high-powered offense, lots and lots to like on them. It could be a league winner for you. Moving on to wide receiver, the newly acquired Marvin Harrison Jr., much anticipated. A lot of people want to see what he can do. We didn't get to see him in the combine, but certainly got to see him in college, did amazing things. He is position ranked 9, 15 ADP, got to get him in the 2nd round. Wilson's 82 ranked, 207 in 18th round. I did put Zay Jones on here. Just for context, his position ranks 100, 247, and he's outside the 20th round. Justin, this wide receiver group, what are your thoughts on with the ties with Kyler Murray?
I know Marvin Harrison is your guy, and 15 is very rich for me to take him there. I get he's a once in a decade prospect. He's been compared to a lot of guys. I'm very much, especially in redraft, I'm very much in a wait and see. Wide receivers bust, man. It happens all the time. Justin Blackman coming out of Oklahoma State, busted. QJ busted. It happens. They're not all gonna hit. And him going in the 2nd round, and I think a lot of people are pushing him, even in that turn that 12-13 turn or your 10-11 turn. People are pushing him into the 1st round. And as an unproven quarterback, I don't know if I could. As an unproven wide receiver, I don't know if I could take him above a Debo, above a Nico, Chris Olave even. We just don't know what he's going to be, and that scares me a little bit. Michael Wilson and Zay Jones, again, I feel like I've used this analogy a lot. They are awesome football players. I don't think they're going to be fantasy relevant by any means.
Yeah. Let me start with Zay Jones and Michael Wilson. I think Michael Wilson's decent if you want him as a wide receiver 3 or something later. Zay Jones, I'm probably staying away from. You nailed it. They're 2nd tier. Michael Wilson to me he was never a true number 1, but he's probably a really good number 2. So keep that in the back of your mind. Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is generational talent. If you like Kyler Murray and you believe he's going to be ADP, then you have to. I'm okay taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he is going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's going to make a lot of people in Arizona very, very happy. He's different. His dad has molded him differently. There are times in college you kind of scratch your head and look at him. If you go watch the Michigan game, I think Michigan did a good job of keeping him bottled up. That defense is really good.
Oh,
the next level, there's the next level with other players going on. Marvin Harrison's going to do things and be so consistent. If you get Marvin Harrison, I'm going to try to tie him with Kyler Murray, right? That's just me. I'm going to do that. So I am okay taking him with that first part of the second round. Let's say you go running back, wide receiver. That's your wide receiver. I'm cool with that. I have no problems with that at all. But you have to like Kyler Murray. If you don't like Kyler Murray and you think, I don't know if he's going to do really good, then you really shouldn't like Marvin Harrison Jr. But in my mind, go get him. It'll be a lot of fun. He may – what if – we're playing the what if game. What if he broke Puka's record the next year? Is it possible? I don't know. We'll see. So could he break the rookie receiving touchdown record? Maybe. I think he's that talented enough to do
maybe.
that. So.
I could see the touchdown record. I don't know about the yards record, but we'll see.
So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to our tight end, McBride needs no introduction. I was super high on him last year. I think this year he could be tight end 1. He is. What's going to happen? He is going to own everything over the middle. He is going to be that guy in this offense. I like it. He's going to go get him. This is to me a steal in the 4th round. His position ranked is 72, ADP 47. Sorry, that's not right. His position ranked is 7th, I believe. Is that correct, Justin?
Who, Trey McBride?
Yeah, McBride. I think he is.
He's 3rd right now.
Sorry, he's 3. So I apologize. That is incorrect. He is 3rd, 47th. I like him. I think he could be tight end number 1. So if you're in a tight end premium league, yeah, he's your guy. For me all day long. Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah, again, I think he's going to be good in fantasy. Like, it is super rich to me going as 44 overall. I would love to draft a wide receiver running back in that round and get Mark Andrews, like I said, Kincaid, Kyle Pitts. But man, Trey McBride, absolute. So my wife surprised me with Arizona and Atlanta tickets last year. It felt like that was his coming out party. That was the first game Kyler came back. And he just kills safeties. And you can't put linebackers on him. Like, he's outrunning safeties. And he's out jumping safeties. Like, he was really good at Colorado State. He killed Boise State a few times. But yeah, he's a great tight end. Again, I probably won't have a ton of shares of him. But that's just me.
Yep, that's fair. I just think if he could be tight end 1, I'll take him. But fun stuff. I'm really intrigued by the Arizona group. We'll see how it goes. They're an intriguing group. They could be a playoff team for sure. That is our NFC West breakdown. Justin, any key takeaways you'd like out of that, or final thoughts?
Just be careful with the Seahawks hype. Like, I get the Grubb stuff. I think, like Matt said, like, I'm on the DK train. I think Grubb's going to be like, okay, this is Roma Dunze. We're going to figure out how to use him and force feed him. I think he's going to be the only guy in that offense that is relevant. I think Seattle's going to be bad this year. Like, 4th in this division. Maybe bad enough to draft a quarterback that pretty high. So,
yep, it's very easy they could be the 4th in this division. My takeaway out of this, do not shy away from Kyren Williams at all. I know there's injury concern. You pair him with Corum. To me, that might be the best 1-2 combo in the league. Do not shy away. Go get him. Draft him as ADP. I think sometimes he goes too low. But
yep.
That's going to wrap it up for our show tonight, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll go live. Man, we like covering football. We like talking ball. We want you to win your fantasy football league. We are competing nonstop. If Chance is watching tonight, I know he took the night off. We miss you, my friend. Get back out here, but hang out with us. We will be back. We got some more shorts coming, so keep an eye out for those. Some quick hitters. So hang out, and see what they are.
Who's going to be your first round pick in our best ball league?
Ooh, and I'm at number 2. I don't know yet. I don't know.
Come on, Matt. Send your shot. Let's hear it.
I am either going to go Lamb or Bijan. It's one of those two. I'm going to go one of those two. We're going to see.
Let's go.
That happens Monday. So
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a great weekend. The rest of the weekend, and we will see you guys next week. Keep an eye out for those new videos coming out, the short ones. Have a good night.